Welcome back to a sunny Portland International Raceway, everybody. There is your leader. Tommy Archer continues to lead. The margin back to Justin Bell, who sits second, has been fluctuating the last few laps from 4.5 to 5.5 seconds. Every time Justin nips it down there in the orange Justin Bell driving experience Corvette, nips it down to under 5. Tommy responds, opens it back up again. It was down to 4.9 last time by. As they hit the stripe this time, it's actually 4.6. So Justin able to close up, perhaps because this guy right here in that green and black Jag, Johnny Miller, the Eaton Cutland Hammer and Automation Direct Jag, is closing it up. After he got around Lou Gelati and was able to get on some clear track, he's been able to take a run. Bell coming up on the lap car and gets by very cleanly. Miller now has to hope that he gets the same kind of treatment as he works through, and he does. That's Bob Ruman, who is very much a savvy veteran in the series. Got a wounded car. He's not going to hold anybody up, and we understand now it's the roller coaster is going back down into the dip for Paul Gentilozzi. Possible cut tire on the Jag. He may be swinging down into the pits. Chris will be there if that indeed happens. We'll be watching for it. Meanwhile, for Tommy Archer, continues to lead, but I tell you, Bell is definitely chipping away at things.
I'm a little bit worried about Tommy. I mean, one of the hard things in any long race is you settle in, and it's sometimes hard to keep your concentration. I'm really worried with the adrenaline flowing. He probably doesn't even feel that injury, but when you settle in, not only do you have time to think about it, the adrenaline, just from a physiological standpoint, adrenaline is a wonderful thing, and it takes, you're kind of in that fight or flight mode. Now, when you settle in, he might, his times have been fluctuating a full 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds.
Boy, we just were on board with Simo and Calvin Fish. Simo went by Boris, said like Boris was parked.
Well, Boris has definitely got some tire trouble out there, Greg. And one thing that you may see is some of these guys, if there's a full caution period, is take a gamble, come in, not just change one tire, which is all they're allowed under the rules, change all 4. What they then have to do is go to the back of the pack, but with fresh tires and just a handful of cars in front of them on the lead lap, they can still get to the front. It's going to dwindle down here. We're in a lap 52, I believe, coming up. So that possibility will not be as big as it was a few laps ago, but that was definitely on the minds of Boris said and his crew, and Gentilozzi spoke about it before the race today as well.
Well, and Calvin, obviously, that was a pass for position. Now Brian Simo up to 6, but Simo did, in fact, stop under green, changed 2 tires on the right side, and obviously that's going to give him anything helps at this stage, and it's paying off for him, and he went by Boris very easily.
And that was his last lap was the fastest of anybody in the field. It's not particularly fast relative to some of the times some guys ran earlier, but he, even with that cracked header, which they had said he had, you don't hear the cracked header. The car sounds okay from here, but you saw the straightaway speed differential between he and Gelati earlier, and but that extra grip is allowing him to run competitively.
There is Gentilozzi, and they're asking him to stay out one more lap just to determine if they're really, if that tire is indeed in trouble, and they're leaving him out. Now he's moving around a lot. I watched him coming through that last turn. Car's skating around a lot, but I mean that could just be that with everything he's dealt with here, trying to drive fast and get to the back, that he's just run the effectiveness right off of those tires.
It might feel awful, but the times aren't showing. He ran a 17.7, which is just a 10th off the quickest lap that go-around of Brian Simo. So you can see the car. He's really got his hands full. The car's really kind of crabbing on that long exit onto the front straightaway. That Jag horsepower is really breaking those things loose, but it hasn't showed up on the watch yet.
One of the things, too, about this track, we've talked about it, the festival curves themselves, but going into the festival curves, you can make up a lot of ground if you have brakes that are doing the job. And Tommy, earlier you talked a little bit about some of the developments in brakes, and Chris Neville is now going to flesh that out a little bit with our tech tip. Chris?
Yeah, technology is always one thing that these teams are looking at to try and figure out a way to get ahead. And this year, Performance Friction has released a new brake combination, rotor and brake pad. Last year, they had 12 teams running their equipment, and with this new stuff, they bumped that up to 22. And in Kart Champ cars, they've got 23 of 26 cars running this new stuff. Pretty much what you're looking at is less weight, more forward grip or inline grip under braking. It's a little bit cheaper, a lot more durable, and hey, that's the equation you want when it comes to brakes and trying to go fast.
Well, Anytime you can cut costs and be more effective and efficient at the same time, that's a great story. We're watching right now, Chris, the battle for a second, and Johnny Miller has in fact caught Justin Bell, but I think it's more because Bell got held up in some traffic. Tommy Archer's gone. He got through some traffic very cleanly. He's now 6 seconds up on Justin Bell, but that has allowed Miller to reel in Bell at this stage. So the battle for second is on, and Miller, now that he smells opportunity, he's going to be relentless.
And we're kind of in new territory. Calvin touched on it in the open about
here he goes, Tommy.
To the outside. Now he's set up for the inside without much trouble. Look at that muscle. Now they're coming up on the slow car, Jim Matthews. He's able to notch back in ahead. It looks like, or Justin Bell, who maybe took a little bit too much out of his rear tires trying to close on Archer, erased the gap in traffic, and then it was kind of a sitting duck there for Johnny Miller.
Matter of fact, Chris just gave us a call and said that's indeed what happened. Bell has reported his rear tires are gone. He's getting very little grip down to the ground, and as a result cannot launch off the turns, and Miller scooted by. Absolutely no worries. The thing is, though, now the gap from Archer to Miller is 6.6 seconds, and we are now in our final 10 laps here at Portland.